When Netflix does stuff like this, when they give an auteur, honest to God filmmaker money, and they're like, go make something, that's when these companies succeed.
The problem with this for me is that I don't have Netflix. If they had put this in the theater, though, I would have been first in line to go see it. So I disagree with you. And Netflix also, they're really terrible at putting out physical editions of their movies.
They never do.
I just feel like this never will unless Criterion acquires the rights and it puts it on a Blu-ray or whatever that you can get. But that's probably going to be a while from now, you know? So no, fuck Netflix. They suck. Yeah, sure, they paid like Wes Anderson to make that stuff, and that's awesome. Maybe other people didn't want him to make this kind of like weird, sort of strange
Mhm.
thing. But I don't know, Asteroid City isn't necessarily a straight film either. I would just have preferred to go see it in the theater. I don't even care if these four short films came out very close to Asteroid City. They have that new Linklater movie on there, Hitman,
Mhm.
which has gotten good reviews and stuff like that, not released in theaters. So it's like, I don't know when I'm going to be able to watch it.
And I definitely agree. Netflix does have this very predatory practice, and all these streaming services do. But I will say, stuff like this does not make money. There is no world where that stuff makes money.
There's no world that's where that stuff makes money. I don't know. Like,
It,
I
it
just don't.
doesn't. Like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, that didn't make any money.
But they put that on Netflix too. They dumped that on
That was
Netflix
another
too.
Netflix original. But that's the thing. Like they have shown for the past 100 years that anthologies do not make money.
What are you referring to?
Tons of anthologies.
If there have been tons of anthologies, then why did they stop making them if they're not successful? There's like a new horror anthology film every single year that's made.
I would like to live in a world where we could just give money to people to just make shit. But I also accept the fact that for better or worse, it is a business. And I'm not saying Netflix is good or any of these streaming services are good, right? I'm very
Yeah,
pro, hey, let's give filmmakers money and go make shit. But I also recognize that making a film costs a lot of money. And if they don't make that money back, then eventually we're just going to run out of money. And then these things will cease to exist. I'm not saying Netflix is a solution, but there has to be some way where we can exist in a world where we can give artists money to make shit. And then that shit can somehow go on and make money on its own.
I think putting it in the theaters would be a good start.
That part I don't get. What is the downside?
So putting aside the Wes Anderson short films, yeah, I guess it kind of has this particularity to it that maybe it's hard to sell. But how is Hitman hard to sell? It's kind of like a cool, sexy movie, has a great name, Hitman, very clear and to the point, starring Glenn Powell. Everybody knows that guy. He's in a bunch of movies now. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Why would you not want to have that in every theater in the United States, along with it being on Netflix?
The only thing I can think of is it costs a lot of money to advertise.
A marketing budget for a movie.
The general rule is you market as much as the film actually costs. So it doubles the
Exactly,
cost
yeah.
of the film. But you could just say, well, just don't market it. Just put it in a couple of theaters. And if it does well, like Hitman has obviously done, not like Linklater hasn't proven many times before that he is both a good filmmaker and can make money off his films. So why not just, at the very least, put it in New York, LA, Chicago?
To me, it seems like more of a surefire hit.
It was announced the movie would play in select theaters on May 24th before getting shunted.
I'm sure it's just kind of like superfluous decision.
So, what I'm gathering from this article, this was a very specific decision made by Netflix. So, this wasn't an erroneous decision. Here's their logic. If they show it in theaters, then people will go to the theaters and see it, and then they won't get Netflix.
But everybody has Netflix. And there are plenty of other things to watch on Netflix that isn't in theaters and never will be.
I'm not saying it's logical.
It's not logical at all.
So, this is their new strategy is to buy as many films as possible and basically gatekeep them. Now I understand why they're doing this. So if you go see a movie, that is a one-time purchase, right? So you have this customer one time. If you buy Netflix, you buy a subscription, which basically means you are a member for life.
If that's true, then why does their movie selection fucking suck? It's like a terrible film selection. And I don't think anyone's buying subscriptions just so they can see Hitman.
It's a long play. Their idea is that we are basically going to own movies.
They don't own anything that's older than 1995.
I'd say it's a good plan.
No, I know. I'm just like,
They're openly combating movie theaters. We talked about this part too, the idea that there's a separation that had to happen in the 1930s where movie theaters could no longer be owned by production companies.
did you see what happened with Alamo Drafthouse?
What happened?
Sony Pictures bought it.
Really?
Yeah, they bought Alamo Drafthouse.
Holy shit.
So that's over now. So pretty much everything is out the window, Austin. All of you were about to say is it doesn't apply.
They realize the money isn't in producing content because producing content is really expensive. It is much cheaper to buy content that's already proved to have been successful
It's the IP argument.
and the gatekeep that already produced content so no one else can see it. because that makes more money than selling the rights, which is why a bunch of HBO shows are now on Netflix. So I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that within the next 10 years, HBO won't exist anymore, which sucks.
They make the best shows of all time.
That's the thing that you want it to be. Yeah, you had to pay for it, but they were legitimately making great content, and that's how
Yeah.
they existed. If we produce good content, people will buy this. But Netflix doesn't give a shit about that, right? They don't want to produce good content. Their idea is that we'll buy content that other people have already created because it's already proven worthy. We go to these festivals, they go to Toronto, they go to Cannes, they go to these different places because it's significantly cheaper to buy a film than it is to produce it. There's no risk involved because it's already proven worthy, and then gatekeep it from the rest of the world. Now, no one else can ever see this film, which I don't know how you stop it because technically there's nothing illegal about it. I mean, ethically, it's shameful, but at least with the Sony thing, right? Like you can at least argue that that's a
But he already
antitrust.
did. Yeah, they
I
did
mean, they already did it,
anyway.
right? It's too late, but like there's at least an argument to be made. It does not bode well for
Us.
us humans.
Yeah. So yeah, you heard it here. Cancel your Netflix subscription. Pretty much cancel every streaming subscription. And I'm not even kidding. I think people ought to cancel their subscriptions. And the only one that's worth even paying for is Criterion. It's just ridiculous, man. Like it just
Which,
sucks.
speaking of, I tried to get on HBO the other day,
Uh-huh.
and it will let me sign in because we do not pay for the ad-free version of Max, which apparently is a different thing now.
But I think Amazon Prime is going to do this soon too. We just circle back to
It's just cable.
television. Yeah, we're back to cable again. To me, that reeks of desperation. Fuck that. Delete your subscription, just pirate stuff.
Go to your local library. Every local library has hundreds and hundreds of DVDs of television shows, movies.
And the greatest streaming service, honestly, is Tubi. They have best movie selection of any streaming service. Yeah, you got to watch ads, but the ads aren't too disruptive, and it's free, and you can just watch it, and it's great, and it's the best streaming service compared to literally any of the others that you have to pay $20 a month for.
You heard it here first.
And pretty much everything else can go down the toilet as far as I'm concerned. Or you know what? We need to go back to so my family and I and my partner we went to Southern Tennessee to like stay at a park and they had like a TV there. So of course I'm playing on the TV. They basically just have cable and they fucking had TCM.
That's crazy.
And they were playing some stuff, especially early in the day, where I was just like, what movie is this? And I looked it up on Letterboxd and it has 500 people that say that they watched it on there. They were just playing crazy, obscure stuff. So TCM rocks.